Hi there, Trevor here from Double Bill Movies. Well, Halloween has been and gone for another year. I took part and did 31 Days of Halloween. So I've got 30, because I've forgotten one of them and I can't for my life remember what it is. 30 films that I watched right next to me. So without messing around, let's get on and I'll show you what I watched. So first up, from 88 Films. And I believe Vinegar Syndrome also have a version of this. It's Grizzly. It's basically kind of Jaws, but in the woods. It even has the sort of an attempt at the famous pull focus shot in Jaws. Really good film, a lot of fun. So that's Grizzly. Because Bumper and I from Bumper's Movies have been doing our Video Nasties series, the 39. There's a few of those in this list. And the first one was Absurd. Yes, that's the same picture as my t-shirt that I've been wearing. I took part in a fundraiser to help restore this movie. Not just this one, but a couple of others as well. So I feel pretty privileged to have been part of the restoration of Absurd for 88's release. There we go. Now this is the third one in a trilogy of it's kind of an animal trilogy sort of thing, by Dario Argento. The other two being The Bird with the Crystal Plumage and Cat o' Nine Tails. And this is Four Flies on Grey Velvet. Definitely the weakest film out of the three. I quite enjoyed it. I did fall asleep occasionally, so I missed bits and bobs, so I need to watch it again. Very nicely shot, very nicely put together film. Just a bit slow, as a lot of these kind of giallos are, but so yes, that's Four Flies on Grey Velvet. So on the 4th of October, Bumper and I did or watched another Video Nasty, and of course the next one in the alphabet is Anthropophagus the Beast. Now actually, out of the two films, Absurd and this one, this comes first. They are sort of a pair. Now some people look at Absurd and say, well, why does the lead character look so sort of normal, when clearly in this he looks terrible. Now there's a scene in this in a cave, and what he does in there, to me, is my theory as to why, and what he consumes is my reason for why he's sort of looking a lot more normal in Absurd. Now strangely enough, I have 3 of these DVDs which have 4 films in, and if you can see that one there, the Grim Reaper, I forgot that this also is called the Grim Reaper, and actually when you put this film on, the title that comes up on screen is the Grim Reaper, and that's it. I didn't realise, so I now actually have 3 versions of Anthropophagus the Beast, because the other one is up there somewhere. So yeah, that's Anthropophagus. So on the 5th of October, you may have seen that I've got 3 box sets from a website called MakeFlix, by a company, Sterling Film. And this is from the Axe Grinder box set, and this is Axe Grinder 4. Pretty short film, but I'm quite enjoying these at the moment. They're very sort of horror fan made films, if you see what I mean. They're not big studio budgets or anything like that. So if you buy these box sets, go into them expecting pretty bad films. But they're kind of fun at the same time. So that's Axe Grinder 4. Talking of axes and talking of Video Nasties, yes, still in the A's as well. There is another film called Axe. Now, obviously, this is a 2-movie set, and actually, if you can still get hold of this version from Severin in the US. It's region free, so you don't need a multi-region player. And the director basically has put together the 2 films. They star the same guy. What he explains is, and you kind of can't watch this film without the explanation, that he pretends that they're twin brothers separated at birth, and they both go on a killing spree on the same day. I've yet to watch the film, what's it called? Bloody Brothers. If it'll focus. Yeah, so, but Axe is the one that Bumper and I watched for the Video Nasties. So that was on October the 6th. So on the 7th, I was a bit tired, so I wanted another short film. And I went for, currently, the last one in the series, and that's Axe Grinder 5. There is space in the box set. You'll see you'll look through my videos and you'll find a haul. And actually, one of the box sets is in the thumbnail. And there's space in there for 10 of these Skinny Amaray cases. But there's only 5 in there currently, so looks like they're going to be making more to fill out the box. So far I've completed the Axe Grinder box set, but hopefully they'll make some more. Right, now a bit of a double bill. Couple of Hammer horror films. And first up we have Hands of the Ripper. This was released by Network. And if I basically show you the double bill poster, it has Twins of Evil. So of course the next day that's what I watched, also from Network. Saw this film as a teenager. Just put the telly on in my bedroom, an old 14-inch CRT TV, and I would say it was about halfway through the film. But I saw these pretty naked girls and thought, oh, this is good. So I watched the rest of it, and then I had no idea what the film was or what it was called, because I couldn't press any buttons or anything to tell me what was on the telly. But one day I found out that's what it was, and I was like, oh, brilliant. So that's why I have Twins of Evil. Really good film, actually. So now we get into this is probably the only mainstream horror I watched out of the whole month, and it was partly research for my up-and-coming Pinewood Studios tour, because there is quite a bit of Pinewood Studios or the grounds of Pinewood Studios in the gardens used in the film. And this is out of my Scarlet box set for Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. So yeah, I watched that one as research, but obviously I enjoyed watching it at the same time. Then on Friday night, oh actually no, I think it was a Tuesday night actually, John and Nigel, so Mondo Chelovic Movies and Rock God 2004 were doing their Video Nasties live stream, and I really wanted to watch it, but of course I was determined to stick with my 31 Days of Halloween. So obviously I only watched a bit of the stream, and I went off and I watched this Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Now thankfully this image, excuse me, is not in the film. This is purely for the cover, but and essentially this image isn't really in the film, because that house is definitely not in the film. But I really liked it. I actually changed my score on my Blu-ray.com app from 8 to 9. So yeah, it's a really good film. What I call a crusty film. Right, now we get into a bit of the Amityville horror, but these are, there are 4 or maybe 5 actually, sort of spin-off movies. So this is the first one, as I bought the box set, which contains 4 from Screenbound, I think it is. And this is Amityville, The Evil Escapes. It wasn't bad. I like the idea of it. It was a little bit sort of TV movie, and I'm guessing that's what they were, TV movies. So just kind of lacked a bit of the attention to detail that the full-on movies actually do, but you know, different budget and everything. So yeah, not bad. So back to another video nasty, which I did with Bumper. And this was A Bay of Blood, or whatever that title says. But of course, these lovely Windows box versions have different artwork and all that kind of stuff. So really enjoyed that. If you want to know what I and what Bumper thinks of this movie, then you'll have to look up our series, The 39, and watch it. So the next day I decided to go for another window box version. It's not a video nasty this time, but it is City of the Living Dead. And strangely enough, it wasn't the film I thought it was. But I started watching it, and yes, you guessed it, I started to fall asleep. So you could probably say I only watched half the film on that night. But as I've seen it before, I thought, well, you know, I'm not going to carry on watching it the next day to finish it off. Right. Now, then you may also know that recently my wife and I went away for a week. And yes, she did allow me to carry on watching horror films each night. And the reason I got this DVD was another holiday we had a few years ago. There was one of these copies left in the cottage, and I thought, well, hey, you know, I'm not going to take it. I didn't take it. This is my copy. I brought this separately. But I watched one of the films, and what I watched was Mutant. And again, yes, I fell asleep. But I seem to recall falling asleep the first time I tried to watch it, so I need to watch it again, don't I? And get all the way through it without falling asleep. But it is a good film. I do like it, and would be nice to find out. I think there actually is a Blu-ray. Yes, there is a Blu-ray. I think Germany have it. So yeah, I should be getting that on Blu-ray. So that's Mutant. I have no idea what date we're on, so I'm not going to sit and count these. So whilst my wife and I were out and about, what we normally do is tend to go into charity shops and things like that, because you never know what you can find in there. And of course, we always go for the DVDs and Blu-rays and CDs and things. And would you know, I found an Anchor Bay DVD. Now, it's not an older Anchor Bay. This is actually on Blu-ray, but I didn't know that at the time, and I only paid £1 for it. So, what is it? Nothing Left to Fear. This is actually a pretty good film. I quite enjoyed it. It's a bit more of a teenage horror. So, you know, you sort of hardcore horror hands? No. Horror fans. Get it right, Trevor. It's probably not going to be your kind of thing, but a pretty good movie at that. Yes, and if you look on the lovely slipcase that this comes in, it says Slash, and the reason it says Slash is because Slash from Guns N' Roses helped produce the film, and the song that plays over the end credits at the end is written by Slash and Miles Kennedy, Miles Kennedy is the singer from a band called, oh crap, what's the band called? Alter Bridge. There we go. Get the brain going, Trevor. Yes, and whilst Slash was doing his solo stuff before Guns N' Roses sort of got back together, Miles Kennedy was his singer, so that was really cool to hear. Right, another one of these. So I've actually got 3 of these. So that's 12 horror films in all, and so on this particular SKU, I watched 3 of the 4 films. So we have Curfew. That was pretty cool. It was about sort of, you know, this young girl going out at night, all dressed prim and proper, and getting out the house and taking off this sort of onesie type thing and stuffing it in the family letterbox, and she's got a short skirt on underneath and that kind of thing. Anyway, all sorts of things happen, and it's about, you know, doing as you're told and not really going out late, hence Curfew. So what else have we got? So then we've got What Waits Below. Now this now means I can do another double bill episode and watch that along with a film called The Cave. You could also say it's very similar to the film The Descent, but The Cave, yes, is much closer to this, I would say. What Waits Below, and it's kind of I think it was shot in England, but it's meant to be sort of an American release. But it was a really good film. I quite enjoyed it. Nice to sort of see an origin story for The Cave. The Cave is much better. But hold up, forgot something. Yeah, you know, I was talking about 3 films on here, wasn't I? And the third one was Spontaneous Combustion. Really good film, actually. I recommend it if you can find it. Now I'm getting pretty tired, so struggling to keep my eyes open. There is another film which I also forgot to mention that my wife actually watched with me, and it was from YouTube, and it was Parasite, the 80s film with Demi Moore in. Great film. Not, you know, totally horrific. That's why she was able to watch it, and I warned her and said that she wouldn't find it too bad. Anyway, back to the other video. Bye! There, yes, I suppose you could say this is another mainstream horror. I don't quite like it as much as I do the first one, because it sort of ramped up the comedy. Now, I wouldn't say that the first one is a comedy. There just happens to be some bits in it that are laughable, not because they're funny, but because of the cheap nature in which the film was made. And some of you may know what I'm talking about, and that's Evil Dead 2. Yes, they just turn up the comedy of this, and it's, yeah, it's quite funny. It's a good film. It's a good sort of just turn your brain off and watch it. Picture's pretty nice on this too. But I've yet to see Army of Darkness, would you believe? Now, so there is a festive holiday coming up next month, not this month, so we don't mention it until next month, which is December. So you all know what holiday that is. It doesn't get talked about until December 1st. Anyway, there's a film that most of us like to watch, and that's called Home Alone. In that is a neighbour that the kids are kind of scared of, and the older brother of the kid living at the house tells a little short horror story, and I think that was kind of a nod back to the film that he was in many years before Home Alone, and that was Deranged. So that's kind of cool, having seen this film Deranged, and realising who it is, because obviously in Home Alone he's got a big beard, but in this he doesn't. Has he got his name? No, I'm terrible with actors' names. He probably has got it somewhere, but I can't see it. Excuse me. But this is a really good film. I think I've given this a 9 out of 10. It's really sort of crusty. And just the way he goes about it, his mannerisms. He is a brilliant actor, I have to say. Oh, look, I'm gonna have to find out his name now, aren't I? Because it's not very informative of me, and I'm trying to get through this list as quick as possible. But starring Robert Blossom, Cosette Lee, Mickey Moore. It's probably Robert Blossom. Ooh, look. Nothing to do with the October films, but I've just watched this. Yeah, it's got to be Robert Blossom. Him, anyway. Yes, so what I was saying was his mannerisms and all the little intricate things he does. I don't know if a lot of them are natural things to him, or if he really thought about the character he's playing, and they're kind of creepy, and I really got invested in the character. And what happens at the end, yes, it's not as graphic as it could be, but there's enough graphic shown stuff and enough suggested stuff that's a really good balance. And for the age of the film as well, I'm going to sneeze. Well, excuse me. Anyway, right, so the next film I watched the next day is from another one of the Makeflix box sets, and that is Meat Hook Massacre. There we go. Right, we could probably hear my wife coming in, so don't worry, she doesn't know I'm filming. Anyway, so after Meat Hook Massacre, well, the following day, I finally watched this. I've had this in my collection for a while, this Arrow box set, and I finally got around to watching it. It is, oh dear, what's his name? Not Clive Barker. Yeah, it's Clive Barker, isn't it? Yeah, trust yourself, Trevor. And it's not a bad film. It's kind of a very over the top Tim Burton film, put it that way. It's, you know, it's more gory, it's much darker kind of thing, but I wasn't massively impressed with it. Anyway, so that's Nightbreed. Right, then back to the video nasties. So this episode went up yesterday, actually. Or was it this morning? No, I think it was this morning, but never mind. Of recording this episode anyway. But yes, it was The Beast in Heat. Second time I'd watched it. And well, yes, you'll just have to watch that video nasty's The 39 episode to find out what I thought of it. Then we got another Meat Hook Massacre, Meat Hook Massacre 2. So all this artwork, actually, I showed this in the video when I showed the box set. You put all them together and they make up a poster. And inside, there's actually a piece of the poster. So you can kind of put it together if you want. Again, very short films, very low budget, but I know what to expect, so I'm not really disappointed when I watch them. And yeah, it's not a bad story. pile's looking a bit wayward. Right, so the last four now. Now this is a film, you may have heard me mention a time of unemployment when I used to sit and watch YouTube at night on my phone. And this is one of them. And this is called Psych 9. I don't know if there's a Blu-ray of this. I cannot find one anywhere. But I really enjoyed it. It's a really, really good film. And I was glad to finally get a DVD of it. It's actually quite creepy. It's got well, Sarah Foster, Cary Elwes, is that his name? He's in Saw. He's the doctor, the one that has to saw his foot off. Michael Biehn, or Bien, from Aliens and Terminator, obviously. And also Gabriel Mann. Really good film. So if you haven't heard of Psych 9, I definitely recommend it. Right, so this is another 88 release, and it's one of their Vault series. They only did 10. I guess the Vault series wasn't doing as well as they hoped. But this is number 3, and it is Pigs. So to me, this is another crusty film. I suppose it would be nice to see it in 4K. It would always be nice to see these films in their best pristine version. But I really like this in its crusty form. The picture's not horrendous. It's actually quite nice. But it's got that kind of 16mm look about it. So it probably was shot on 16mm. And as you can see, I've got a lovely slipcover on this. So that is Pigs. Now this film I have the 4K of, and I have seen it on 4K. I took it round a friend's house to watch it. But because there is a remake and I want to do a double bill of it, plus it's the 50th of the slasher collection, it is Maniac. So watching this for the second time, obviously the first time I watched it, my friend and I were talking a lot, so we weren't really paying attention to the film. But this time I didn't fall asleep, would you believe it? I got to see it all. And yes, it's quite an impressive film, I have to say. Oh dear. Need to remember these names, don't I? Highly unprofessional of me. Joe Spinell. There we go. So he sort of basically directed this as well, and I think he wrote it, and he's the lead guy in it. This is him, and yeah, I think he played it really well. There's kind of this weird sort of breathing thing that goes on when he's feeling like he needs to kill, I suppose. But no, there's some good kills in this, and yeah, a little bit creepy in places, but it's a good film. Right, and then of course we get to Halloween itself, and no, I didn't watch a Halloween film at all. I have to say I'm not the biggest fan of the Halloween films, and I've only ever seen Halloween. But one day I will get to watch all the Halloween films, and I'll get to make up my own mind what I think of the franchise. I understand it's a bit of a mess, and I understand that the ending, Halloween Ends, is kind of a split, whether you like it or not, and judging by the real horror fans that I know, they didn't like it. So hey, but I'll make up my own mind one day. So on October 31st, Halloween itself, I watched Blood Rage. Now there's 3 cuts of the movie in this set, and obviously this has a nice slipcover. There is another name. Nightmare at Shadow Woods. So that's one cut, and that's the longer cut. So I think there's actually 2 cuts on this disc, and then that's the longest cut, and I watched the longest cut. So the first time I watched it, I always like to watch the shorter version first, and it wasn't that great, but actually watching the full version, it's actually a pretty good film. So there we go. That's my 31 Days of Halloween, obviously minus the film, and I probably won't ever remember what it is. So let me know in the comments, did you do 31 Days of Halloween? Did you try to do it and sort of not manage it, or is it just something you don't think you could ever do? Like I said, let me know in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you enjoy my content, subscribe to the channel. It helps, and set your notifications to all so you don't miss anything I put out. I put out quite a variation of videos, and as I said, I've got a Pinewood Studios tour kind of coming up, hopefully soon. I just need to find my Pinewood pass. But I have other videos relating to that to explain what you need, because you need some films to take part, because it's interactive through YouTube. Unfortunately, I can't take you to Pinewood Studios and wander around and show you everything. I don't work there anymore, and you're not allowed to do that anyway. So yeah, so have a look through my videos to find out about that if you want to take part. And I've got a selection of videos on how all these discs are made, because I used to, and I kind of still do, work in the industry of making physical media. So anyway, yeah, that's the end of this video.